This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. In news from the crime beat, criminal investigators are now tasked with investigating several serious incidents occurring on several family islands, all on Monday. In the second city, Freeport, Grand Bahama, a 26-year-old Grand Bahama native is in hospital nursing injuries after he was stabbed while at a local nightclub. The incident reportedly occurred sometime around 12:45 a.m. on Monday while the victim was at a local nightclub on Logwood Road when he reportedly got into an altercation with a male known to him and was subsequently stabbed multiple times about the body. The Sea Grape resident was taken to hospital where he is detained in serious but stable condition. Police are following significant leads. Meanwhile, police officers on Long Island arrested a 61-year-old of Deadman's Key, Long Island, after he reportedly stabbed a family member to the upper body. Police on the island say the incident occurred shortly after 11:40 p.m. on Monday. Officers attached to the Deadman's Key police station were contacted and informed of a domestic dispute between the brothers. The victim, age 58, was transported to the local clinic and later airlifted to New Providence, where he is detained in hospital in serious condition. The suspect remains in custody and is assisting police in their investigations. On Bimini, police there are questioning a 22-year-old of Alistown in connection with a recent shooting. Around 11 p.m. on Monday, a male, while at a local nightclub in Alistown, was shot to the face by a male suspect known to him. The 26-year-old victim of Kings Highway, Bimini, was transported to the local clinic and later airlifted to New Providence, where he is detained in hospital in serious condition. Police investigations into these matters continue. Former CEO of now-collapsed cryptocurrency exchange FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, will face a judge in court for trial in October of this year. Bankman-Fried pleaded not guilty to charges that he defrauded customers and investors of FTX when he appeared in a New York court on Tuesday. He had already gone on record in several interviews with international media denying that he knowingly and intentionally defrauded customers and investors of FTX, which was once worth some $32 billion before it collapsed. However, Bankman-Fried also admitted his failings during those interviews, noting that the issues were his own mistakes. While before the judge, Bankman-Fried denied claims that he took FTX customers' deposits to fund his other firm, Alameda Research, buy real estate properties, and make political donations. On December 21, 2022, Bankman-Fried was extradited from the Bahamas to the United States, where he faces 8 criminal charges, including wire fraud, money laundering, and campaign finance violations. 2 of his closest colleagues have already pleaded guilty to charges levied against them and are cooperating with the investigations by the U.S. authorities. If found guilty, Bankman-Fried faces up to 150 years in prison. Meanwhile, the Securities Commission of the Bahamas once again clearing up what it says are misstatements being made in the public domain by FTX's new CEO, John Ray III, who is allegedly making incorrect statements both in the press and in court filings. The Commission, in a statement on Monday, denied allegations that it instructed FTX to mint a substantial amount of new tokens. According to the Commission, these statements were made in a court filing on December 12, 2022, without evidence, and then made again under oath on December 13th before the United States House Financial Services Committee. Statements suggesting that Bahamian officials directed FTX employees to mint $300 million in new FTT tokens were widely reported by the international press. The Securities Commission of the Bahamas says such unfounded statements have the impact of promoting mistrust of public institutions in the Bahamas. Once again, the Commission addressed the process by which it took possession of digital assets that were under the control of FTX Digital Markets for safekeeping, acting under the authority of an order made by the Supreme Court of the Bahamas. The Commission says assertions by FTX's new management team were based on incomplete information. It further charges that FTX's current management team chose not to utilize their ability to request information from the Bahamas Joint Provisional Liquidators pursuant to a court order. The statement says the U.S. debtors' continued lack of diligence when making public statements concerning Securities Commission of the Bahamas is disappointing and reflects a cavalier attitude towards the truth and towards the Bahamas. Since news broke in mid-December of crypto group FTX's new management announcing it will seek to recuperate millions of dollars in funds donated to individuals, NGOs, and political parties by its former CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried, there has not been much said by local public officials, but there is apparently concern by some NGOs here in the Bahamas that were recipients of such donations from FTX. On Monday, outspoken PLP chairman and Minister for Foreign Affairs and the Public Service, Fred Mitchell, questioned whether FTX's management can legally do such a thing here in the Bahamas or in the United States.
There was a statement promoted and publicized that the FTX liquidator in the U.S. will claim back charitable or political donations. This supposedly frightened organizations in the Bahamas, just asking for a friend, though. How, on God's green earth, given the principles of law, that a gift properly authorized and owned by the giver, and that gift is given to another party without notice of any condition or third-party claim, how can that be clawed back? By what law? I've not practiced law in a while, but the claim seems a bit fanciful. In Bahamian law, there is, of course, something called a fraudulent preference, but doesn't seem to fall in that category. The U.S. is a country of laws, I remind people, not conjecture.
It is still unclear if FTX's new management plans to recoup funds from recipients here in the Bahamas and other international jurisdictions, or their focus will be solely on recipients in the United States. FTX's management said the recuperated funds will be used to help pay back creditors following accusations that the contributions were funded with customers' money. And finally, the Ministry of Health and Wellness wishing to advise members of the public that the South Beach Health Center has resumed triage services for people experiencing respiratory symptoms. The hours of operation for this service at the health center are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The public is also reminded that community clinics, including Elizabeth Estate Clinic, Flamingo Gardens Clinic, Fleming Street Clinic, Adelaide Clinic, and the Gambia Village Clinic are all open from Monday to Friday. And that'll do it for your JCN Evening News. Once again, I'm Jcn Saunders. It's a pleasure to have you join us.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.